right, good morning, everybody. It's TGI Sports Talk. Thank God it's Friday, and thank God it's Sports Talk. We're live here from East Greenbush, New York. Still the only live streaming sports show from East Greenbush. And as you hear me say every week, I'm really proud of that fact. Beautiful weather here this week. It's been a little chilly. As I mentioned last week when I signed on, we were in the 50s. It was nice, but it was chilly. Nice fall weather. I love the fall, but we're going to be in the high 70s this weekend. Beautiful sunshine. So we're going to enjoy it while we can, because soon the snow will fly. I want to thank my guest from last week, former umpire Dale Scott. Dale was really a good guest. We covered a lot of topics. He was very interesting. There's a lot of stuff we didn't get to, which seems to happen every week. I'm sure that'll happen this week, and we're going to have Dale on probably again soon. Today, my guest is former Yankee Ron Blomberg. Ron was the first DH in baseball history. Was really a really good ball player in his early in his career, and I followed him as I grew up a Yankee fan. And then injuries kind of got in the way, but we'll be chatting about all of that. Ron's also authored a book that's been in publication for quite some time. I think 2006. We'll verify that with Ron, called Designated Hebrew, which is really a good read. If you haven't picked that book up, I would suggest that you do it. And he'll have a new book coming out called The Captain and Me, covering his career and his friendship with Thurman Munson, which will be really well. And I think you can pre-order that now on Amazon, but we'll talk more about it. But let's bring in Ron Blomberg, former Yankee. Good morning, Ron.
Keith, it's great to be able to talk to you, to the people in upstate New York. And I know that what you're talking about, it's going to be snowing up there pretty soon. And hopefully it's going to be a lot better down here. And it's rainy down here, but it's going to be nice. And it's great to be able to talk to your fans.
Well, we're happy to have you. I know a lot of my friends were really excited to hear that you were going to be on the show. When I started promoting the show, when it first started, you're one of the first guys I reached out to get a feel whether I could even get people to do this, and you had responded positively then. I know you got really, really busy because you got a little cottage industry going on with Ron Blomberg right now, I think, and that's a great thing for you. One thing I didn't realize until I can't remember where I read it. Maybe I might have been reviewing the book again, Designated Hebrew, and I didn't realize that we have one thing in common, that my stepson and your son Adam are graduates of the University of Miami. I've been trying to figure out the Miami hat.
Oh, look at this, the U.
And now I needed to ask you when we chat on Facebook, and I said, I'll just ask during the show. And I caught up on that your son and my stepson both graduated from Miami. He's moved on to North Carolina getting his doctorate now. So, but I'm a big U fan myself. My wife and I were outside in the 40-degree weather last week by the fire watching the game. So,
I live and die it. My son is one of the team doctors up there. He's a chief anesthesiologist up at Memorial Hospital up there. So he's in charge of a lot of people. And we listen to the game. We die hard. This week's going to be real tough with Florida State, 7:30 on ABC. So we're really looking forward to that. And we watch it. Luckily, we got the ACC station, and I don't know if you got the ACC.
We do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you'd be no, you got ABC this weekend. So we'll be lucky, and hopefully we'll come out with the W.
Yeah, it's always an exciting game, Miami and Florida State. So I'm excited about it myself. And I might even get some nice weather to sit outside and watch the game. So.
Oh, you will. It's going to be great. You could cook out, have some barbecue. It'd be wonderful.
We'll have some fun. I might even have an adult beverage. I'm not sure yet, but
that's okay.
So, Ron, let's jump into Ron Blomberg. I mean, you grew up near Atlanta, Georgia, right? Or in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not sure exactly where. I know you went to high school and were a three-star boy. Gosh, I'm having a bad morning. 3-sport star there. got recruited for football, got recruited for basketball. Basketball, UCLA was interested in signing you, right?
I signed a basketball scholarship with John Wooten at the beginning of my senior year. And we at that particular time, I signed a letter of intent. And when you sign a letter of intent, it's not like now where a recruit will get recruited and he'll jump from college to college. But when I signed a basketball letter of intent, if I decided to play basketball in college, I would have to go out to UCLA. And that was in 1967.
Yeah, and you also were recruited heavily for football too, right? Hundreds of offers.
I signed a football scholarship to University of Alabama. Bear Bryant signed me to a letter of intent. So, I mean, so that was already taken care of. If I did not sign professionally with the Yankees, I would have to sign with one of them, Alabama or UCLA.
Well, you end up being the first pick in the 1967 draft, which might have only been the second draft in history. I'm not sure. There weren't many yet. Second, yeah.
Second, yes.
And obviously you get a decent signing bonus there. What made you decide to go to baseball?
Well, it's very, very simple. I knew back when I was probably in the 11th grade that the Yankees were looking at me pretty heavily. And I got recruited. Well, not recruited, but I got a scout started looking at me when I was in the 9th grade in high school. And I was very, very lucky to be a pretty decent athlete. And at that particular time, 1967, I was lucky that the Yankees finished last. And to be honest with you, down south, baseball was not the biggest sport. It's football. It's college football down here. Yeah. We live and die it. It's our religion down here. And when Milwaukee, the year before, Milwaukee left the Milwaukee Braves left Milwaukee and came down to Atlanta, became the Atlanta Braves. And baseball started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And but back in Atlanta, the only professional team that we actually got to watch on TV was the New York Yankees. And the New York Yankees at that time, there was Pee Wee Reese and Dizzy Dean always used to call the game. And I became a Mickey Mantle fan. I lived and died Mickey Mantle. I thought he was one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. And the New York Yankees are the New York Yankees. So I got very, very lucky. I got drafted number 1 by the Yankees in 1967. And this was a no-brainer. Being Jewish and being able to come up to New York, I had it made. So, I mean, if I got drafted by Texas or Kansas City or Milwaukee number 1, I probably would have signed with UCLA or Alabama to play one of those sports. But I'm never going to turn down the New York Yankees. And being Jewish and being able to come up to New York, and these are my fans up here, and I'm very, very lucky. And I did not make a wrong choice. But unfortunately, I had quite a few injuries. So I did not live up to my billing, but that's okay. You know, I mean, I did everything I could. Yeah. I gave 120%. When I did play, I did well. But unfortunately, I had quite a few injuries. And that really hurt my stability in the game of baseball.
Well, you know, you've got a very loyal following and large following still, you know, for so many years ago. And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that you got on Facebook and I found you there, and you're obviously stretching out. you're spreading your wings in social media as well, as I see. So you signed for $75,000 in 1967. That's a lot of money in 1967. Have you ever done the math of what it would be if you signed today?
No, you know, I mean, I think it's probably maybe around about $300,000. So that's not even minimum. That's not even minimum anymore. Yeah. When I tell people, they say, God, you must have made millions and millions of dollars when you signed. I said, absolutely not. Yeah. People don't realize when we played baseball, it was a lot different from what the game is now. Money was not the main issue. the major thing was to be able to go to a good team and to perform. And I mean, it became a job, but it became a fantasy type of job. That's what I wanted to do. I was very, very lucky in my life, Keith. I did what I wanted to do. I played baseball. I got to be able to put the Yankee pinstripes on for many, many years. Got to play up in New York, in the greatest city in the world. And but nowadays, if I was a number one draft pick, I'm expecting probably 13, $14 million. But George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees in '73 for $9.2 million. So, I mean, these guys, the minimum, when I signed, the minimum baseball was $7,500. Now it's like $595,000. So they made as much as I did almost in my whole career.
Yeah. It's funny. You talk about George buying the team in '73. Well, he bought it with a large group of partners, right? But I'd read the story that while they bought the team for $9.2 million from CBS, that George had only invested about $10,000 of his own money at that point in time. I don't know if that story is true or not.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I know there was like 51 minority. No, I'm sorry. There was 50. And no, wait a second. He was 51 and no, it got to be 100, So there is, it's 49 and what is it? Help me out, Keith. I feel like I'm stubborn now. But
Well,
it was
only about $100,000 a piece. So yeah, $100,000, and he turned it into $1 billion return. So
multi-billion dollars.
Multi-billion dollar. Yeah, I'm going back a few years, $1 billion. So tell me about it a little bit as you were heading, towards your New York and your minor league career. Who are the big influences on you as you developed as a minor leaguer and headed towards your career in the major leagues?
Well, I really did not have the only hero that I have was Mickey Mantle, the guy that when I started playing, I was actually 17 years old when I signed a professional contract. My first year, I went up to Johnson City, Tennessee. Johnson City was the rookie league, the Appalachian League. I was there for like 2.5 months. The next year, I went to Kinston, North Carolina. And then from Kinston, I went up to Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester, I went up to Syracuse. And so I was very, very lucky. I got to get up to the big leagues when I was 19 years old, when they had the expanded the roster for an extra X amount of guys at the end of in September. So I was very, very lucky to come up to the big leagues when I was 19. Then I went to Syracuse again for just a short period of time. And then they brought me to the big leagues when I was 20 years old in 1971. So I stayed up there, forever. But but I would say that, back then it's a lot different from what it is now. It's a type of game where you have 1-year contracts. When you became a high draft pick, you knew that you're going to have an opportunity to reach the big leagues. When I played, it was just like in the minor leagues, we might have 50, 60 guys in the minor leagues. And we might have 6 or 7 roommates, 8 roommates. And you wake up the next morning and 2 or 3 of them would be gone because they got released. And it was a round robin. It's a lot different from what it is now. These guys are making so much money. You look at them, after their career's over with, they buy teams. We never even thought about that. I remember in '73, I had 329. They gave me a $500 raise. And the next year I had 311 and they took my $500 back. And the next year I had 301. They didn't even talk about a raise to me. So and all these, but you know what? It doesn't. Hey, Keith, I love to play. I mean, I love athletics. Uh, you know, I go to Yankee Stadium a lot during the season. I should be up in New York now.
Yeah.
A lot of meet and greets, and also I do tons of work with the Steinbrenners. And I have a camp up in Milford, Pennsylvania, in July and August for a couple of weeks in July and a couple of weeks in August. I'm up here. It's the New Jersey Y camp. It's the largest Jewish sleepaway camp in the country. We have close to 6,000 kids, and it's a sleepaway. And of course, I don't have 6,000 kids. I might have 300-400. Right. And we go up to Cooperstown, where you are, up there all the time. And so, I mean, it's a lot of things that in baseball that I did not have the opportunity to do because of injuries. But I had great managers. I had great teammates. And like I said, we did not make a lot of money, but we made a lot of friends. And, and the bottom line, our career is over with now. And our friendship to 95% of the guys on the team are just like, it's amazing. It's a brotherhood. And I love that.
Yeah, it's nice to see it. And that's one of the good things, social media's got good points and bad points. And one of the good things is for me, is being able to kind of see the people that I grew up watching. I mean, you're older than me, not a lot older than me, but I grew up watching you, and Bobby Mercer was one of my heroes, and Thurman, obviously, and Roy White. And it's great to be able to see all those people on your Zoom call. I know a couple of weeks ago you had Roy White on with you. So I think it's really cool that you guys have been able to stay in touch. And now you've got even another way to connect.
Oh, that's, let me tell you something, Keith. I have never done social media before. I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you. I still, like I told you, I still got my flip phone. I still got my rotary phone at home, and I still use my calculator. And, do this. Let me tell you, it's a lot easier for me to hit a fastball and to be able to turn the computer on and talk to people. And I had a friend, Lenny Cosberg, and we became very, very dear friends. And he was very, very good in the social media. He understood it. I had no idea what it was. My kids wanted me to do it. They said, that's up and coming. I didn't do anything. I had enough stuff that I do up in New York and my camps and stuff. So I didn't have enough time. So with the virus that came up, and it turned the world upside down, and it made people stay home, and it made me, instead of watching the Andy Mayberry show and watching Law and Order every single day, it's just so many episodes you can watch. So I started asking around, and I, started talking to Lenny, and Lenny said, you need to get into social media. And I didn't even know what it was. And he said, you need to do Facebook. And I know my daughter and my son does that stuff. But I never seen that before. After so many years, they talk about it, and I never seen a Facebook. I had no idea what it was. To be honest. So Lenny got me involved with this, and he got me involved with Twitter, and just got me involved with Instagram. And I'm learning. And like I said before, it's so much easier to hit the Nolan Ryan 100-mile-an-hour fastball rather than doing all this stuff. But I'm having so much fun.
Oh, you're doing a great job. You're really doing a great job.
We got almost about 17,000 people. And so it's nice to be able to interact with Yankee fans, and people didn't even know me, but them getting to know you now. And it's like a friendship. It's part of a family now.
Yeah, and I want to just mention for the people that have joined us since we started that my guest today is Ron Blomberg, former Yankee, first stage in baseball history. You got a lot of people in the room that I can't see everybody, unfortunately. I'm still trying to work out the glitches of that, but I've got some of my regulars here that are saying good morning to you, Ron, David Guyette, Ray Golick, Joe Altieri, Bob Motel, Pam Terrell, Beth Testa Muldoon. Oh, hi, Beth. Good to see you. So everybody's happy to see Ron. We want to talk about some of the old stories and stuff, and we'll get into some of that here. as we go forward. It's funny, you mentioned there was no baseball. You didn't want to watch Law and Order. I was just on YouTube watching 1970s Yankee games pretty much every night. My wife trying to figure out how are you watching baseball if it's not on? Why are you watching games from 40, 50 years ago? Because I like those games. I like them better than the games today. So,
you know what I really love? Let me tell you something. I was never, okay, and this will probably confuse a lot of people. I always loved sports, always loved baseball, basketball, football, whatever, okay? But I was never a fan, and people don't understand that. I was a player. If I did not play, then I would get fidgety. I would get bored. And watching a baseball game now, I watch it now because I do it because of my fans on Facebook. It's hard for me to watch it because I want to be involved. I see a lot of the players in modern time, what they are doing wrong. I guess I'm a Sunday quarterback and looking at everybody and watching everything what they do wrong. But it's funny now because I know all the guys I know all the announcers, I know all the people in the clubhouse. So once in a while, if I see somebody doing something incorrectly, I'll call up Marcus Thames, who is a hitting coach for the Yankees. I said, Marcus, I know you're watching these guys on the computer, but I'm watching this guy on a major big screen, and I'm watching these guys exactly what they do and what they don't do. And so,
Ron froze a little bit.
Guy has too long swing. So, I mean, it's been fun doing that. And like I said, I love to play sports, but watching sports, it's very, very difficult. I mean, and people don't understand that. And, and I want to get dirty, I'm doing like 3-4 Zooms a day and, talk to people on the computer all the time. And this is like the Twilight Zone for me. It's so new. So, so like I said, I want to get dirty, rather than I love to talk to people, of course, but I would love to put my uniform on, slide into. Oh, you can't slide into second base now, and you can't slide into third.
You have to prance
at home. Yeah. Oh, you got to prance in. But I want to hit the guy, break up a double play or break up, the catcher, have the ball and I'll knock it out of his glove. I love to do that. That's what I enjoy doing.
I know you probably don't get to get dirty, and I'm going to segue here to the fantasy camps because a friend of mine, Bob Noto, just came in. I don't know if you're going to. I know a lot of guys pass through there, but he knows you from the Yankee fantasy camp. He goes every year, and he wants me to ask you a question about the steak eating contest he used to go to as a rookie every year.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Unfortunately, when I came from nothing. My parents had no money. Okay. And we lived in a very, very small house, very modest. So when I signed with the Yankees, back then, guys nowadays, they get between $175 to $200 a day for meal money. That's almost what I made each month, just my salary. Okay.
Right.
But it was a place in Keanersville, North Carolina. It's up in the Outer Banks. And there was a place, and I used to go with a couple of guys. At that time, I think we made like $5 a day for meal money. And the only thing you could eat back then, you go to White Castle or you go to McDonald's, and that's the only thing you can eat, to be honest with you. It's no steaks and potatoes and, okra and spinach, and it was none of that you can get. So there was a place in Keanersville, North Carolina. Somebody told me about if you ate a 72-ounce steak within an hour and a half, with all the trimming, with dessert within like I said, about an hour and maybe an hour and a half, you get it free. And I did it 3 times, and it came out. It looked like it was a half a cow. And the guys, I don't know who I was sitting with, and that became a big deal. and if you it was free, and then you got your name up on the board. So I had my name up on the board 3 times, and that was a big deal. And I was a big eater. Hey, I burned a lot of calories, so it was fun. And they asked me, what was I full? And I said I had dessert. So I used to go back maybe. I think I ate there. Let me see how many road trips we had. I know I did it twice, but I think somebody told me that they saw my name up there 3 times. So
Nice.
I tell people 3 times.
Did they borrow you from the place eventually or no?
No, they didn't. Everybody was watching. It was just like the guy, the hot dog guy. And it was a whole big deal. I mean, I wish I had the sponsorship like the National Hot Dog Eating Contest. I would have had, that would have been fun. But I didn't have sponsorship. I just had a good meal, and I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Well, tell me, so you get to the major leagues, and CBS owned the team when you started out, and obviously the Yankees were in a down time, not trending down at that time. 73, we talked about George and his people buying the team, and George obviously within a year or so pretty much takes over, majority owner, right? What was the difference in the culture of the team from CBS to when George and his crew came in?
Well, CBS, they used us as a write-off. When you first started thinking, when you first signed with the Yankees, who owns the team? CBS. Golly, Pete. I mean, they must do this and this and this. I mean, but they're just totally, we're just there playing baseball. They owned it for a few years, and they just did not put a lot of money into the team. They did not go after and make a lot of trades. And, it was a good team, of course. I mean, they're great ball players if you reach the big leagues. Even if you're not a good team, being up in the big leagues, you got to be pretty, you got to be a great ball player. Okay, that's the bottom line to it. And the greatest thing, when we found out there was a guy that was going to buy the team from Cleveland, and we found out it was a guy named George Steinbrenner, I started saying, golly, Pete, I got a Jewish owner on the team. I thought he was Jewish, to be honest with you. I said, God, when I negotiate a contract, this is going to be great. So he was not Jewish, but he was the greatest owner. He was the greatest human being that I have ever met. And when he came in, when he bought the team in 73, Bill Vernon was our manager. We're Shea Stadium. He came in, and we knew that there was other minorities that owned the team, but we knew that he was a majority. And he sat us down before a game, and he said, y'all, he said, I'm so happy to be part of this organization. He said, whatever we need to win, he said, we're going to win for the players, we're going to win for the fans, and we're going to win for the city of New York, and we're going to win for all the Yankee fans. And he said, whatever this team needs, I'm going to do. And he did. And that's when we became getting free agents, and it was incredible. He was tough. He was a businessman, but he was a guy that you got to give him 120%. If you don't give him 120%, you're gone.
Yeah.
And I loved him for it. People had some run-ins with him, but at the bottom line, if you perform, if you gave your 120%, he'll do anything in the world for you. He's a wonderful man, and working for the Steinbrenners now, I love it.
Well, in 74, you mentioned 74, and then things started to turn. The fortune started to turn for the Yankees. They were in a pennant race the entire year, right down to the last weekend in 74. I remember Bobby Mercer breaks his thumb, and that was kind of the end of that, I guess, or contributed to the end of that, losing to the Orioles. But Bill Vernon did a great job. He wasn't the first choice. Dick Williams was, right?
It was Bill Vernon. I think it's so long ago. I think we got him from Pittsburgh. I
Yep.
believe we got him from Pittsburgh, and we got Bill Wright, who was the pitching coach. We got him from Pittsburgh. Also, was Bill's real good friend, and he came from a different culture. You know, coming from Pittsburgh to New York, I mean, you're going from the Big Apple to a half a peach.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's a lot different. But I thought Bill was a very good man. But a lot of guys did not understand what he represented. And it was a lot different going from the National League to the American League back then. And he did well. I got along well with him. A lot of guys got along well, but they didn't like his how he managed. Okay. And George came in, and right off the bat, he swept. He saw Billy was out. He swept him off the unemployment line 5 times or 6 times. And it was like every 4 or 5 months, he would get rid of them, and he'd bring them back like 3 months later. And that's why I speak to Jill, his wife. She's in Ocala now, and I think she still has like 5 of his contracts, and she still collects now like 5 of his contracts every single year. So it's funny.
I think in '75, I think Vernon, you guys could have been in first place by 20 games, and once Billy got in trouble in Texas, George was going to bring him in no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. You know,
right?
I mean, that's a no-brainer. And he brought in, you know, we had Elston Howard, we had Yogi, we had Whitey Ford, we had all those guys. And he wanted a winner. And no matter what it took, money, he had major deep pockets. Whatever he wanted to do, he'll do to make the team great.
Right. So you went from Houck to Vernon to Martin. Those are pretty diverse personalities. I mean, when you're playing for Ralph Houck, 73 is a year the first DH game, April 6th, I think, 1973, right? So you've got that under your belt, but you also were hitting, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 73, you were hitting 400 in July, but Ralph did not play you against lefties. Where did the whole lefty stigma come from?
You know, I really don't know. To be honest with you, you know, being drafted number 1, I used to hit anybody and everybody. And, you know, I mean, I had no problems with left-handers. But I think what it stemmed when I was in the minor leagues, when I first signed in rookie ball, I went up to North Carolina. I hit left-handers extremely well. When I went to Syracuse, okay, I had a manager. His name was Bill Vernon. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. What was his name? Oh gosh. You know, I mean, I can't think. But anyway, he was a manager that the team that we had all ex-major leaguers. Okay. And he was really Frank Verde. Frank Verde.
Yeah.
Frank Verde was his name. And he was really married to the hips to the older players on the team. We had a lot of ex-guys, guys that came up to the show for like 30 days or 6 months or whatever. But when I came in, you know, I'm a, 19-year-old, rook. You know, I came in as a big bonus baby. And so, and he's old school. So I never got to play against left-handers.
Yeah.
And he platooned me down there. And, you know, I mean, and then when I got up to the big leagues, the scouting report, he did not play against left-handers. And Ralph did not play me against left-handers. But when I did play against left-handers in the big leagues, I did fairly well. But I never had the opportunity. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And people try to make me say bad things about Ralph Houck.
No.
He's the best manager that I have ever had. I loved him to death. The only thing I always questioned him. And when I was hitting, and the writers and the announcers and all the opposing teams would always stack the team with left-handers, so I would not play, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was hitting 400, and I had like a 27-game hitting streak, and the fans went nuts because I pinched hit with this 27-game hitting streak against a left-handed pitcher. And the left-handed pitcher that I pinched hit was Vita Blue. And when I hit the ball, I thought it had a chance to go out. But I think Bill North caught I hit the ball to right center. I hit a shot to right center. And back then, right now, it would have been a home run because the fence is so close now. But it was a long shot because right center had a long fence.
Yeah.
And caught it right against the fence. And that ended my 27-game hitting streak. And the writers went nuts. They said, "How in the world could you do that?" And they came up to me. They wanted me to say something derogatory. I said, "Ralph's the manager. He's the best manager I've ever had. He makes the decision."
Well, you certainly played for, some different personalities for sure. And, as your career goes on, the injuries start to take a toll, the leg injuries and the shoulder. And you didn't play as much. And I think all of us that followed you wish we could have seen you play a full season and see what would have happened. What happened when, with Billy? How was your relationship with Billy? I know from the book and reading the book that it kind of deteriorated as you were injured more, your relationship with Billy.
Well, Billy wanted me to play every single day. I mean, they look at a guy, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just being honest with you. They looked at a guy that can hit. They looked at a guy that could help the team because whenever I was healthy, I always did extremely well. And when I came back from the disabled list, I was in pretty decent shape and I was ready to go. And then when I went down to spring training, and at that time we had, remember Jimmy Wynn, the Tory Cannon, and he was going to be a DH. And I was hitting the ball real well in spring training. Then I hit a wall down in Winter Haven, and about 4 days before he released Jimmy Wynn because he wanted me to be the full-time DH. And when that happened, it made him shorthanded, and I'm on the DL again, and he doesn't have a DH. So he had to go out and get somebody. I think he got Carlos May, I believe.
Yeah.
And Carlos May was a real good ball player, but he's a different type of ball player than Jimmy Wynn was. And, and of course, May, they wanted me to have at least 450, 500 ABs. And it did not work out. And Billy just looked at me, and it was tough for him. And he didn't hold a grudge, but he held a grudge.
Yeah.
So it was. We never had words. We never had words at all. But I knew what he thought. And hey, it was very difficult to do my rehab and coming back to the stadium. And I'm in there in the whirlpool. I got the trainer working on me, and Billy would come in and would always look at me and say, "Are you still on the table?" Like that. And and my heart just went, out of me. And I knew what he was trying to say is, "Why are you on the table? You should be out there playing."
Yeah.
And so, I didn't have words, but I knew there was a little bit of friction.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Like I think in '76 when the Yankees finally had their rebirth, right, and returned to the playoffs and the World Series, even though the World Series didn't go well that year, you didn't really get to participate. You had 2 at-bats the entire year. That had to be hard for you, I'm sure.
Terrible.
And what about and then in '77 you missed the year. So it's time to move on. You go to the White Sox and take one more shot.
Bill Veeck gave me an opportunity, to be honest with you, Keith. And when I left the Yankees, George and Gay Paul, who was the GM, kept on calling me. They said, how in the world can you do this to us? You're a fixture up in New York. You had all those fans. We just want you to be healthy. We just want you to play. And I was like 85% okay. But I knew that Bill Veeck has, at that particular time, started taking some people that was retreads. And I looked at myself, to be honest with you, as a retread because I'm looking at all the scars on my body. And, hey, I was a guy that was injured. And I went to Chicago. I got drafted by 11 different teams when I was a free agent. I went to see the Mets. I went to see a couple of other teams. I forgot. But when I saw Bill Veeck in Chicago, he sold me on himself. And that was so easy. And I don't know if you ever met Bill Veeck. He was a character. He was a wonderful, wonderful human being. Him and his wife, Mary Frances. It was a lot different going from New York to Chicago. It's like going from Broadway to Michigan Avenue. The Avenue is gorgeous, but it's nothing like Broadway, Yeah. And I went to Chicago, did the best I could. I remember the first game, they thought I was going to do great because I hit a walk-off home run against the Baltimore Orioles, and they thought they found a Messiah they're going to bring, and he's going to do well. But after that, I started breaking down because my shoulder that I had, a couple of shoulder operations, it was blowing out my knee. And once I ran into a wall in spring training, it was giving me problems. And so, I knew I was on the shelf, man. Unfortunately, Keith, we did not have the modern technology.
Yeah.
The trainers and the medical staff. We did not have. I did not have a Tommy John surgery, but Dr. Job and Dr. Curlin that invented the Tommy John surgery, of course, and they had me going out to Centrella Hospital out in Inglewood, California, to have surgery. But unfortunately, we did not have we could not scope my shoulder. They had to go from muscle to muscle, and when they did that, it destroyed my career, to be honest. It took me a long time to come back.
It's a little ironic. In 78, you go to Chicago and Bob Lemon gets fired and comes to the Yankees and wins the World Series.
Well, he had more talent, to on to the whole thing. I mean, what a great pitching staff. I mean, you're talking about, I should have been on that team.
Yeah.
You have a Goose, a Catfish, and you had Tidrow and Guidry and, Kenny Holzman. Hey, you had super studs on that team. We had, like younger guys. If they finished, if the White Sox finished in third or fourth place, they would consider that success. If you don't finish in first up in New York, you're a loser. Believe me. And look at the Mets. It's killing the Mets, and it's killing the Yankees now because they have to win the 60-game series. Hopefully, and they'll win the World Series. Hopefully, they'll bring it back to New York.
Hopefully, it's kind of an aberration of a season, but it is what it is. Listen, I've got a couple of questions and some of them tie together. So I want to get into the new book a little bit. And there's a question here about the who's the best player Ron thinks he ever played with, and I think it ties in probably. I'm going to guess with the new book.
Well, let me tell you something. I played with a lot of superstars on the team, but my closest friend on the team was Thurman Munson. The new book that I'm writing, everybody, even, you read all these books, all the baseball books, basketball, football, they talk about their career. They talk about what they did in this game and this game. So I said, I want to do something different. So I went to a book company, came to me, Triumph, out of Chicago. And they asked me, my literary agent from the Designated Hebrew, and that's funny because we started that in 2006, and we sold close to 46,000 copies of the book. I made $0 on it because I gave everything back. to charity. Okay, I never thought we were going to make any money. To be honest with you, if I would have known where I sold 46,000 copies, I would have made some. To be honest, but I didn't make anything. I gave it all back to the organizations on charity. Okay, so my book, Designated Hebrew, this year came out in paperback. And it's an update from my old book, The Designated Hebrew. That was a very success. It was in the top 25 bestseller for the New York Times. It was extremely popular. It was great and whatever.
Great reviews, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Okay, so it came back in paperback. It's doing great. And but my literary agent said, "I know that you room with Thurman, and I know that." We had a lot of good authors to write about it. One of my dearest friends is Marty Appel, who wrote about Thurman, and it's called Munson. And it was a great book.
Great book.
Great reviews. He sold thousands of that book. But, I started thinking, that's a baseball book that tells you about this guy did this and he did this. I wanted something that nobody's ever heard about before. I wanted, because he was my roommate, I wanted to do something, what we did on the road, what we did, during the off season, all the pranks that we did. So it's a book. It's going to be a thick book. It's going to be close to 300 pages, and it's going to be great. And it's going to be Diane Munson just did a forward of the book the other day. So the publishing company thinks it's going to be an extremely big book. And I know that the pre-orders, it just came out a week ago, and it was the #1 book in the last 2 or 3 weeks. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, with pre-orders, and it's extremely well. It's even I just been talking about it. People on my website and my Facebook and all the Twitters and all, they buying the book. And, with the Designated Hebrew now, you can go to Amazon, but I tell the people to go to my website and buy it, because I do a signature of it. And I'm going to give it, if somebody wants to buy it, and they'll love it. It's Ron Blomberg. It's 10. It's Ron Blomberg, Yankees.com. And they can go to my website, and, I do in the inscriptions. And I already sold close to 400 books in about 6 weeks. So it has done extremely well, and I am making a little bit of money on this, and it's been fun doing it. But people are having fun reading the book. But like I said, but the new book is going to be great, and it's what we did with Jay Black, Jay and the Americans, what we did with Frankie Valli, what we did with Gambino and John Gotti and all those guys, and it's a real big thing. I mean, it's really a big thing.
The names are getting bigger.
Oh yeah, it's really big. And, they're all our friends. We didn't do anything bad, believe me. I'm not saying anything bad about no one, but it's the good times and the tough times that we had, and the injuries that I had. With Thurman pulled me through, and what I pulled him through, and everything, but people don't realize he was the greatest human being in the world. He was a kid when we went to different hospitals, and we went to the Shriners, and we went to ALS, and we did so many charity events in the city, and going to hospitals and people had cancers. He was a teddy bear, and people are going to cry and they're going to laugh with this book, because it's not talking about games what we had, and it's not going to be about that. It's going to be what we did, the jokes what we did, about jumping in rooms, windows that we broke, and it's going to be great. It's inside talking baseball, so people will love it.
You're writing it with Dan Epstein, is that right?
Dan Epstein, yes.
He's a great writer. I've read a lot of Dan's books.
He is. He was a big writer for the Rolling Stones, and he's written for many. He's had many books. Have you read any of his books?
Oh, I have. Yes, he's probably 6 or 7. I think he's got probably 30 books, sports books.
Correct. And he's writing this book like it's people don't know this, but we already had a few opportunities to talk to people because they think, and what we told them about the book, they asked them about the book, and we don't tell them everything was in the book. They said it's going to be like we told them it's going. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but Bang the Drum Slowly.
Oh yeah.
That? Okay.
You were in that movie, weren't you?
I'm in that book. Yes, I'm in that movie, and it's going to be a book like that where a guy and both guys became great friends, and one of them got sick and stuff, and they had great times and they had tough times. So that's what it is. And we had, and this is with some of your fans and stuff. A couple of people already asked us they talking about if this is successful like they think it's going to be, they want to look at this as maybe doing a movie about this book.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. So for the people that are watching now and the thousands that will watch after, they can go pre-order the book now on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, they could pre-order the book on Amazon, and it's not the cover, and we are 95% through with the book, and it's going to come out in April 2021, and I have read like 3 chapters of it because it's not totally finished, but it's going to be great. I mean, it really is. I let I let my wife read it and my son read it. He read it, and he read my first book, and my first book was great, and they had such a great time with the first book. He said, "This is a total different book." He said, "You're talking about a book that is part of, I mean, you're talking about, you feel like you're inside the book, and you feel like you're watching a ball game, or you're watching in one of the stunts that we're doing, and we're going out to dinner with one of the Frankie Valli, and Tommy James and the Shondells, and we're with all these guys, and Jay Black and the Americans, and I mean, we're with them and went out to dinner with them. When it's a book where people are gonna love. Believe me, they're gonna love this book.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to read it myself. Just to, I know Thurman was your closest friend, and I know you have great respect for him. And I'm glad to see a book come out, because a lot of books that cover Thurman don't cover all of Thurman, right? He's very one-dimensional. A lot of the books, because the writers had their own opinion of him, and except Marty's book was really good. I've got an interview in the can with Marty that I'm going to be playing here in the coming weeks. It was a great interview, but his book was really well done about Thurman, and he gets ripped by a lot of. I read a book by Maury Allen one time where he was so mean to Thurman. I wanted to go find Maury Allen and punch him in the face.
Yeah, people don't realize. Okay, Thurman was our captain. Okay, Thurman was a blood and gut type A player. He was a blue-collar leader. As soon as he came to the Yankees, I got drafted in '67. He got drafted in '68. I came out of high school. He came out of Kent State. And he made his way up to the big leagues pretty quick. And he took the place of Jake Gibbs. And of course, you remember Jake Gibbs. And as soon as he came up, he became a leader. The pitchers loved to pitch to him. And, and to watch Thurman work behind the plate, it's like watching a painter paint a beautiful painting. It's just like watching Leroy Neiman when he used to paint all the portraits of the sports guys. And he did one of me in '73. And, and when I had to sit down and I watched him doing parts of it. And that's the type of guy Thurman was.
Yeah.
And people always ask me, who's a better catcher, Carlton Fisk, Johnny Bench, or Thurman Munson? Hands down, I played with Thurman, played against Fisk, and I never played against Johnny Bench other than spring training. And I watched them hit, and of course, both of them in the Hall of Fame. But Thurman should have been in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. If he would have played an extra couple of years, it was a no-brainer. He was a Hall of Fame guy, but unfortunately did not. But he should be in the Hall of Fame, what he did for the Yankees and how he took a team where the team was just basically is molding into a team and worked a pitching staff and became a great leader on that team. And if you watched him perform every single day, not just on the field, watch him in the locker room, how he interact with the pitchers and the other ball players. And whenever you talk to him, he was a teddy bear to us. But if you did not hustle, the manager would never say anything. But Thurman would get up into your face, and he'll spit tobacco in you and spit his seeds at you. And here's a guy that hasn't shaved in 5 days, and his uniform is dirty, and he just put it in. And he was nasty. He never combed his hair, but that was him.
He looked the part, right?
That was Thurman. But let me tell you something. He was a teddy bear, but he hated writers because he knew that writers are going to say one thing and he said something different. And he knew that he's going to be misquoted. So, the writers scared to death of him. And even Diane in the Ford would say that Thurman would eat and spit out the sports writers. And the writers would always look at him and see if he was in a good mood. If they, because, hey, I have seen him in the locker room. This is what we talk about. Has given a lot of writers hot foots. And all of a sudden they're talking, and all of a sudden their shoes on fire. And and then they walking out, they don't have another pair of shoes, and their shoes are just like burned up. You know what I mean? And it's but the writers were afraid of him. And when we saw like new writers would come up to Thurman, and Thurman would be nice to him for a second, and then all of a sudden it looks like the Count Dracula, and the fangs will come out and go for these young sports writers. And these guys, they'll look at each other and they said, "Thank you very much." And they'll walk out as quick as anything. And I've seen them with Maury Allen, Dick Young, Phil Pepe. They're the old guys. They're the old group, but they knew when to talk to him and when not to talk to him. And during a ball game, and when he got involved in the game, and how he's going to call the game with the pitchers and so, you better not talk to him. But after a ball game, if he had a terrible game, if you ask him, "Why did you do this? Why did you do this?" He'll tear you up. Believe me, he'll tear you up. But if you see him in the locker, he's a total different guy, a total different type of guy. In the lobby of a hotel, and once you away from the game, he's a total different person.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the book and seeing that part of him as well. You read it in bits and pieces, but not in as complex a person as you'll show him to be, I think. So I might take you a couple minutes past 9 here, if you don't mind, because I got just a couple more things I want to look at. So Thurman's your closest friend, and obviously, one of the best or the best player on the team when you come up. Who are your other favorites on the teams? Who are your friends? Who did you enjoy playing with?
Oh, Mickey Rivers. Mickey Rivers was the best leadoff hitter I've ever seen. He was a guy that made the Yankees go. Oscar Gamble. You couldn't when Oscar Gamble and Mickey Rivers used to be in the clubhouse, they made everybody die. They're the funniest people in the whole world. It's like who's on first, and they're the greatest people. The guys on the team, Ron Guidry, Goose Gossage, a very, very close of mine, really, really close, was Catfish Hunter. And all those guys, Kenny Holzman, played with some great guys. Majority of the guys that we played with, unfortunately, we lost quite a few guys. They passed away.
Yeah.
And the guys that we played with, it's not like the guys nowadays, the guys nowadays, they come in their entourages, they come with their Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and, the Maseratis, they had all that stuff. we had like little beat up cars parked in the parking lot, and but we made friends. I mean, these guys nowadays, and it's bad to say because I'm in the clubhouse a lot, and I mean, they got their headsets on, they got computers in front of them, they go watch computers how they hit, the pitchers watch how they throw. I mean, I couldn't do that. People always ask me, how did I hit a baseball? I saw the ball and I swung and I hit it. That's the bottom line. How do you hit a baseball? That's the bottom line. Even if you're watching computers, you got to see it, you got to swing, and you got to hit it. That's the bottom line. And I'm not a computer literate, technical type of guy, but the guys nowadays, they don't stay together. They don't come to the ballpark together. We came to the ballpark. I used to come with Thurman, Chris Chambliss, and Mel Stoudemire. And we used to come to the ballpark all the time together because we didn't want to pay the $1.50 to go over to George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really have enough money to go over the George Washington. We always took turns doing that. So we always became very, very close. And to this day, the people that are still living, majority of us, we stay in tune. And the Yankees are the best. They have Otama stay for us, and they have Yankee fantasy camps. And we're with these guys all the time. We're with them all the time. I'm with Mickey Rivers, and Mickey Rivers is one of my closest friends, and I love him to death. He stays with me, and we talk to one another all the time. And and Mike Torres, and Jesse Barfield, that they played a lot after us, but they're part of our family, and we became very close in Yankee fantasy camp, and and that's what the Yankee has done. When you play with the Yankees, the Steinbrenners, they mold you into a family. They're the greatest organization in the game of athletics. I don't care what anybody says. And when George passed away, and they gave it to their kids, and the kids brought the mechanism how we stay close as a unit, stay close as a family. And to this, hey, I see Hal Steinbrenner and Jennifer up in Yankee Stadium all the time. I talk to Brian Cashman every time I'm up there. I see him. Randy Levine, Lon Tross. We see him all the time. I do meet and greets with them. They're wonderful people. They're down to earth people. Yeah. They're part of my family. I speak to them on Jewish holidays. I wish them a happy New Year and stuff. And and we're very close. And I got to say one thing. George made us very, very close. We're close knit. Hey, people are jealous. All these other teams, they don't have that.
Right.
But we're a family. The old Yankees, we're still a family. Even to the newer guys, we go down to the clubhouse and talk to them. They're family to us.
As you talk about family, I got to ask you about, one name, because he was. I love watching you. I love watching Thurman. As I grew up, my guy was Bobby Mercer.
Mercer. And
it's funny in the book. I didn't hear his name a lot. Was there any problem with you and Bobby? Or?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No.
Bobby,
okay.
No. Bobby was, Bobby was a great guy. I mean, he was a great. Bobby came up as a shortstop. Then they moved him to center field, and then because he was from Oklahoma, they talked about Bobby Mercer and Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
Because both, Mickey Mantle, but great ball player. A great. Him and I still talk to Kay all the time. Kay is living down in Texas, and she's a wonderful sweetheart, a sweetheart of a lady. And Bobby was more of an introvert than an extrovert type of guy. Thurman was more introverted, but once you start ribbing on Thurman, he got very extroverted. Bobby was never one of these guys that will like Thurman. Bobby always was well dressed, came to the ballpark, put his uniform on, go out and gave nine innings, and he was a great teammate. And when he got traded for, when he got traded for Bobby Bonds from the Giants, everybody on the team was like, how in the world can they get rid of Bobby Mercer? Well, we became friends with Bobby Bonds too, but Bobby, we're always, and when he became a sports caster up in New York, he did a fabulous job. The people loved him. Yeah. I had almost over 1,000 views in Facebook when I told you about Bobby on my Facebook page, and people loved him. He was a wonderful guy, and they should put him. Let me tell you, they should have him in Monument Park.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Bobby should be. Let me tell you something. There's two people should be in Monument Park. I'm going to give you two people: Bobby Mercer and Roy White. Those are two people that should be up in Monument Park. And Roy was a face of the team, and he was up there for so many years. And unfortunately, we didn't have great teams, but they're a great part of the team, and they've stayed up there for so many years. And Roy became a coach with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And then you had Bobby worked for the sports
Yes Network.
And he did unbelievable up there. People loved him. They need a place for Bobby and Roy White.
I couldn't agree with him more.
They're our foundation. They're our people, and people like yourself. You've seen them play. They're great players. And, but unfortunately, we didn't have the 7-8 guy superstars on the team.
Yeah.
Good ball players. We didn't have all the superstars. And they should have been, hopefully, maybe one day they'll be put into the Monument Park. I
hope so. I miss Bobby a lot. Bobby literally was in my living room for 40 years, every night for as long as baseball season went on. And it's hard to believe how long he's been gone now, but
he's like Bob
miss him a lot.
Bob Shepard, when Bob Shepard opens up the game and started, talking about the Yankees, and he was like, Bobby is part, as a player, as a broadcaster, he was a makeup of the Yankees.
Yeah.
He was a makeup of the Yankees. No, we never had problems at all. We loved each other. We did things together. But him and Thurman they're like brothers. We're all like brothers.
Yeah.
And, we're part of a team, and George made sure that we're close. And to this day, unfortunately, a lot of our friends passed away. And, it's great to see people like Kay and Diane Munson and Helen Hunter and Jill Morton at Old Timers Day, because, you look at them, but you look at their husbands too. And I see their husbands. And I live with these guys. I think about these people. I think about these people all the time, to be honest with you. I think about these people all the time. And like I said before, Keith, they're my brothers. I love them to death.
Well, I got to tell you, you're doing a great job of keeping a lot of their memories alive. Well, some of them are still with us. Some of them aren't. With the little stories and vignettes you tell on your Facebook page a few times a week, they're awesome. I hope you keep doing those. They're just great little reads. And I hope you keep doing it. And you mentioned introverts and extroverts earlier, and I think you really got to work on your own introvertedness. You got to come out a little, Ron. You're just too closed up there.
I know, but hey, I tell people I'm a book. I like to talk to people. The fans, your fans, my fans, and when I meet people at the stadium, these are the people that made the game of baseball.
Yeah,
I lived my dream. I did something what I wanted to do. I put the Yankee pinstripes on. I got to play at Yankee Stadium. The fans cheered me and they booed me. And, I don't care. Hey, I've been booed in front of 50,000 people, 1 or 2 more. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. But I want to meet these people. I want to talk to them. these people made baseball. These are the people, hey, the time that they don't listen to you, the time they don't ask you for autographs, or the time that you're not successful.
Yeah.
I'm successful because I'm very, very good with people. I enjoy talking to people. I look at these people and they look at me as a star with them. I look at them as a star because they made me to perform 120% every single game. They made me out there. They made me cheer. If I made an error, they booed me. If I made a good play, they cheered me louder than they booed me. And that's why, I was very, very lucky to play up in the greatest city in the world and to put that Yankee pinstripes on. It's the greatest uniform in the world. I was in the greatest city in the world, and I played on the greatest team in the world.
You did. You did. And I think those are great words, and it shows that you get it, where guys today don't. Grant, I want to thank you for your time today. We could cover so much more stuff, and we got to have you back again at a later date. Maybe before the book comes out, we can help you push it a little bit again at that point in time. But I appreciate everything we shared today, and there's so much more we could talk about. So I do appreciate your time. And if you want to stick around, as I said, for a second, we can close our conversation up, and I'll wrap up the show and come back to you.
Great, Keith. Looking forward to it. And fans, go to ronblombergyankees.com. Get Designated Hebrew. You'll love that book.
Absolutely.
Go to Amazon, and you'll love that too. And believe me, both books are wonderful books, and they're great to talk to y'all. And we love you and hope to see all your fans very soon.
Excellent. Thank you, Ron, for your time. Have a great weekend. Guys, what a great interview with Ron Blomberg this morning. I appreciate Ron's time. I got to tell you, I sat in on the Zoom call that they do on Tuesday nights, Zooming with I think it's Zooming with Boomer. The books, Designated Hebrew is a great book. I really suggest anybody who hasn't read it, reads it. And get the new book. It sounds like it's awesome what Ron's explaining. And I had pages of stuff to cover with Ron today, and I don't know that I covered one page. So there's so much stuff that we could talk about, and we'll hope to get him on again. And I want to thank all of you. I hope you'll share the interview as we've talked about. If you're new to the broadcast, I hope you'll like the page, follow the page, and share the content that you like. There's a lot of other interviews, and Ron is certainly moved to the top of the list. So we've had a great time today. I certainly appreciate all of you tuning in, as I do every week. I'll probably be on Sunday with my little take on the college football weekend, and hopefully Miami wins for Ron and I and my family and his. And we'll see you then. If I don't see you Sunday, I'll see you next Friday on TGI Sports Talk right here on the NLB Network. Thank you all. Bye-bye.